There you go. You guys are off.
Okay, can you hear me now?
What's better than one Sandy Berry? Two Sandy Berries.
Okay.
Sandy, do you realize you're up there twice?
Just bear with me. I'm trying to get my audio.
All right.
Okay, I can't share my screen. It says the host of participant training, sharing.
Sandy, you're there twice, and so there's a constant echo. So you need to close one of your versions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Could somebody answer that they can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I thought you could hear me.
We
So
can
I
hear.
stopped the other one.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Just 1 minute. Just hold on. I'm gonna have to restart my WebEx, my Zoom.
I'm not sure why, but it says my name is Sandy Berry. No, I don't care.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Could I do this then while I'm trying to get my laptop set up properly? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. 1 sec. So Carol, as soon as I open the meeting, could you share your screen with the minutes on it from July?
I can do that, but I also just emailed it to everybody again.
Well, the problem is I'm not able to,
Yep.
no, is it any different than the one that we got
No,
already?
Chris had one small correction. I put it in
Oh.
there and nothing's changed as far as I know.
Oh,
But I did email it to everybody and I certainly can pull it up. It's here waiting in my little queue. I just emailed it to you, so it's in your email.
yeah, my problem is I can't get on my laptop, I'm on my phone.
I understand that. So do you want to let me share my screen and I'll pull it up?
Just 1 minute here.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Wow. I've been downstairs all day using my laptop and for some reason something got misconfigured. Okay, this is Sandy Barry, the chair of the City-Owned Cemetery Advisory Committee. Tonight is August 9th, 2022. Sorry for the delays in starting the meeting. This is the preamble. Consistent with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. Good. All right. Item agenda, let's take a attendance. I'm Sandy Barry, as I said. I'm the chair. And please, Carol, introduce yourself.
Carol Kelly, alternate.
Chris.
Chris Maney, member.
Okay. And Mike Hale is also on the line. Our illustrious leader. And I do need to report tonight that Augie had a last minute cancellation. Now, the nice thing, if we go to agenda item number 1, it sounds like I've looked at the July minutes. Carol's okay with the July minutes. And Chris, are you okay with the July minutes?
Right. I haven't seen them because I'm on John's computer so that I can hear and you can hear me. So yeah, as long as Carol made that one correction, which was just the fact that I really hadn't contacted CPC about the budgeting of money, and so that was just a simple correction, context of, and that's been corrected. So we're good.
And I did make that correction, so we're all set.
Thanks.
That's great. I would like to make a motion to accept the July minutes based on the input that I just heard.
Yes. Accept. Okay.
Carol?
Carol, you're muted.
I know I'm turning it off and on because of my fan. I definitely seconded it.
And Mike, are
Yes.
you okay with? Oh, excellent. So I officially accept the July minutes. Excellent job. And I want to report, Chris, that we can hear you really well tonight. Thank you so much.
Much better.
On computer.
Okay. All right. The second item on the agenda is the DPW signage, which was led by Augie and Carol. Would you like to take this item, Carol?
Yes. Wait 1 second. Yeah. I sent a document through to Mike and to copies to everybody else that Augie and I put together. I'm not sure if you need it to be repeated to you. I'm just pulling it up here from my point of view. What we had come to was the conclusion that the signage, and the examples that we had two of them, one was Dolliver Memorial and the second one was Beachbrook, were the signage that we all agreed was kind of historical looking, really handsome, and that we would love the city to have that be the consistent signage throughout for all the cemeteries. And of course, we had to talk to Mike about that, whether that was a possibility or not. So Mike, you got that notice. Now it's 2 months. So do you need me to resend it to you, or what can I do to make that easy?
It's been quite the summer, so I can get back on that.
So I'll resend it. How's that?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
And the second thing that we had that Augie and I both came up with, and then I think, even Sandy and I had talked about it several other times, that's in the same note, is that we very much wanted the rule signs to be less obtrusive, to not be the first thing people saw when they came into the cemetery. And so we wanted them in obvious enough places so that they're posted, but at the same time, not detracting. For example, the sign on the front of FPBG, that's right there is the first thing you see. So that within the cemetery, but not very far within. And the rules that needed to be posted, including we wanted to add, I think, no gravestone rubbing, at least at FPBG. Am I correct on that, Sandy, Chris? Anybody want any input on that?
I'm sorry, I don't even, I didn't, the signage, the signage of the rules, do we have a copy of that? Can you post that?
I can resend. As I said, the problem is it was sent to everybody and then, time passes quickly.
Right. Could you just resend it maybe again? Because I don't remember even.
Very simple and straightforward, as I think we were all pretty much in agreement. We didn't want the first thing that people saw when they entered the cemetery to be the no, 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 no signs.
Exactly.
That was none of us wanted that.
Exactly.
And yet at the same time, we felt, of course, that they needed to be posted. So what we wanted to request from Mike was that less obtrusive, but still prominent places be found for the restrictive signs within each cemetery, but it wouldn't be the first thing that people saw when they entered. And we also had added that probably no grave rubbing needed to be added, at least to FPBG, maybe not in one of the more modern signs. And we didn't know, and we still sort of need to have Mike tell us, are there any things that are required by law or regulation that must be posted?
That may be an exercise for the city solicitor.
Okay.
And I'm not familiar with all the general laws in the Commonwealth, but we can certainly task her or her legal aid with identifying what needs to be in the cemetery regulations.
I would be glad with Augie to follow up on that and send a note to the city solicitor.
Okay.
And
Suzanne Egan.
Yep. And also at the same time to reiterate this note with everybody else that Augie and I had written.
Yeah, I got it right
Okay.
in front of me. I mean,
You got it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was flagged in my email, and I don't disagree. I think there's a way to get both signs in there where you're not necessarily looking at the don'ts from the street. You need to get in there past the welcome sign and then see what you can't do.
That's right. I think that was the whole point, I think, that Augie and I sort of came to. And the other idea was to get rid of the multiple signs, because as it turns out, over the years, some of them seem to have accumulated. Like you see one no sign, and then the next thing you do, you see another one. So we probably just need to tidy that up. So
Yeah, let's figure out what needs to be on there, and let's pick a cemetery and get one posted, get the main sign posted and the Brit rules sign posted. Make sure everyone's happy. Then we can just duplicate that.
All right, and I'm making notes right now, and I'll resend the notice that Augie and I had written to everybody, and then we can begin maybe to move on. Sounds good to me.
Carol,
Yeah.
did you know, Augie, were you able to find any examples of regulation signs that didn't say no, no, no. I mean, rather than saying, no dogs are allowed, dogs need to be leashed, more like a sign.
Well, we did have that lovely one at Langsford. I'm hearing a huge echo when I'm talking. I hope you're not getting it, are you?
We are, but it's okay. We can deal with it.
All right. At Langsford Street, and I've got it right here in front of me. It's, let me read it. This burial yard is a place of honored history. The condition of the gravestones is the result of time and effects of weathering. Preserve this site for future generations by treating it with respect. Pick up after your dogs. Do not sit or lean on the gravestones. The site is open during daylight hours. So it was a little bit more, what should we call it?
Welcoming.
Pleasant.
Welcoming.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so you got to start.
That's in the note too, if we could phrase it that way. But there are a number of regulations. When I look at them, there's a do not litter, no dogs, a whole bunch of things.
Carol,
Yeah.
on the Cherry Hill sign, which I'm not sure if that was in the packet, I would share my screen, but for some reason I'm not able to share my screen. Mike, unless you have to, it says host disabled participate.
I've just lost Sandy.
Sandy, your voice is
You hear me now?
better.
Now,
Yeah.
What it says is the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, so that's Mike's fault.
I'm seeing both of your screens I see of you. Hey,
Okay.
hey,
I think
Okay.
it worked.
Okay.
Is it work?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
There we go.
So sorry. Want to show the signage standard just for a minute, Chris, because oh,
Yeah, there's the Langsford Street sign.
Okay.
okay. Now, I don't. The Cherry Hill sign had the I don't see Cherry Hill, but Cherry Hill, that's not one, it's a green one. But that one had the cemetery regulation number on the city site that says, no defacing, no digging up graves, no doing this, that, the other thing. And that one is down on the bottom of the
Ah, okay. Yep.
there's the
Sandy, I can't hear you.
this
There you
down
go.
at the bottom talks about chapter 272 section. I think you can see it here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that has to do with some of the warnings that are on. Okay.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm glad your cat could join us, Mike.
You wanted to say hello.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. Oh. Okay, all right.
Sleeping on the computer bag now.
All
Okay.
right, so, all right, how about for the minutes?
Yeah,
Augie and I will contact the city attorney. We'll do one set of the things and we'll have it ready to look at the next meeting. How's that sound?
Good.
oh, that sounds great. And once again, I don't know if you can hear me and see
Now I
this.
can.
Okay, but
Sandy, can you email me that picture?
yes, yeah, okay. And that has the thing that people have been talking about with the chapter, verse, and
Mhm.
whatever. Okay, got great. Thank you. Okay, and an interesting note, just for the your information, um, just in case you were going to go by and look at it, Chris, the Beach Brook Cemetery sign is gone, and
Oh,
I think it just kind of this is what it looks like here for your benefit. And these were the nice old fashioned ones that we could
Yes, yeah,
oh nice. Okay.
it is
But
nice.
yeah, now everybody has those documents. Let's just shelve that to the next meeting.
yep.
So that's the word on that. Now that you can see my stuff, I'm just going to bring up the agenda so that people can see it.
Okay.
On the agenda, we'll shelve that. Signage input, we're going to shelve that. And Carol, number 4, an interesting thing. And I also wanted to ask Chris if you heard about this Bayview 1972 book.
No, can you fill me in on it?
Yeah. So Carol, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I'm just simply holding it up to my camera right here because I've only got it on my phone. I checked today and it's not at the public library. They don't have a copy. Sharon Cohn, who we now know is a friend of the cemetery committee, was at someone's house and she pulled out this. It's called Historic Restoration Bayview Cemetery, Gloucester, Mass, April 1972. So Sharon took a picture of it, but she said we could probably, and I think that's like we, could probably borrow it from the human who owns it at the moment because this private citizen owns it, and actually make good copies of it. She sent me all the pages. There's maps of Bayview and all. It's got a tremendous little piece of information. It's one of those large format books. So what are they like? You know what I mean? We've seen them, right? And they're all spiral bound.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it.
You have it.
Yes.
That's wonderful, Chris.
Yes,
have you copied it and digitized it?
I at least have couple copies of it, you know. So, well, can the DPW scanner do large format? I mean, because this is at least 11 by 14. Can the scanner from DPW do that?
I mean, we have to just put it to the printer. I mean, how many pages is this?
Well, it's at least, well,
I've got it. It's like I can actually look. But the point is, we don't want a paper copy. We want a digitized copy.
right. So
Okay. Yeah, well, we can scan it.
Right. I could bring it down to the DPW, Mike.
Chris, how many pages is this
Let me
approximately?
it's,
Is it War and Peace, or is it like, the Gloucester Times?
I'm looking to see if how many pages I've got here.
see this folder? This is the folder on Bayview. And it depends upon what section of it's divided up into A, B, and C. And it depends upon how much detail we wanted, besides the listing of all the gravestones and the burials, and they have pictures. And then we also have all the unnamed stones. So with respect to page number, I don't know, maybe let's say 30. How about 30?
Okay, so it's 15 scanned.
Yeah, because you see, it's about this big. You see how
There it
big-
is. Yep.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, okay.
So there's no hurry on this. It's just when we identify a source, I just love to have it digitized and then become part of the library of cemetery information that's available.
Oh, yes, yeah. So
So no hurry, I mean, but
right. I thought we were talking about a real book. Yeah, that was the work done by Duca and his group.
right.
Now, Chris, when you held up that folder, how big was the book?
Well, what I have right here, because I have it in sections, it was 24 pages. But I actually had some of the original sections too. So like something like this. Can you see that?
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So I think it's going to be at least 30, because
Okay.
30, maybe 30 pages.
And
Well,
I'd like
go
those
ahead.
scanned in to a digital copy. I will put it on the Google Drive under Bayview, because I thought the Bayview file was missing all this time.
No.
But this is, we get back to my main concern, which is, just it's these little holes everywhere that if we can pull it all in the end, we'll be in better shape.
Right. And actually, Sandy, that brings up a good point, because I'm not even sure, you told me you had a whole bunch of Davis's cemetery booklets. I'm not even sure which ones you have too. And so,
Yeah.
so it'd be good. It's good to catalog all this information.
Yes, my bookcase behind me flagged with state of the art.
I would love to suggest that we, maybe when the summer's over, there's no hurry. They're already dead. That when the summer's over, we get together and we make a plan for making sure we've got a list of what everything is. So we aren't doing this kind of thing. I mean, I told Sharon to hold off till I found out, but.
Right. Now we've had this, y'all, I think you realized, you did know this, because when I gave you a tour a couple of years ago, I worked off this. It's just that there's so much, all of us are involved in so many different projects.
Yeah.
At one time, you two knew that this existed, because I worked off it to build the map. I gave you a tour of Bayview a number of years ago, pre-COVID. But that's okay. It's good for us now in September to meet, and let's really kind of digitize everything we have.
Yeah, just to figure out an organizational strategy.
Exactly. Maybe let's just try to do it next September or after Labor Day.
Let's do it.
Good. And Mike, would I contact Rose, or is there someone in the office I would contact to come in and use the scanner?
I just contact Rose and tell her we spoke, and you're gonna leave it there, and we'll take care of it.
Okay, that sounds great. That's great.
I thought I lost the folder. Oh, my God.
Sandy, we can't hear you, hon.
Carol, oh, excellent. Chris, I thought I lost the folder, so this is good news.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I also should scan in Cherry Hill as well.
I have some Cherry Hill stuff, unless this is all spread out. Okay.
That's it. September meeting. We'll get ourselves, we'll get ourselves organized. Meet at Veterans Center or something, and just get ourselves together on that.
Yeah, the kind of thing we talk about, like having a work meeting, not a committee meeting.
Yes, exactly. A subcommittee, yes.
All right, number 6.
I think
Oh,
we're on 5.
yeah, number 5. I just made a request through Chris in particular to get I think what happened is that when the D2 containers were depleted, right? When we went to recycle those containers, the pump went with them.
Oh,
So we just made a request to get a pump for the D2 container. Promise never to throw those little spigots away.
okay.
So Sandy, I didn't, have you found because again, here's the spigot, but have you found an actual pump that you would like?
Same one that's one you have. Is that possible for you to determine?
Say it again, please.
Um, are you able to determine which one you have?
Well, this is what I use. This is, this screws on and it come, you see it? Is that gonna, you're gonna be happy? It's not a pump though. It's just a, turn on, turn off nozzle.
Spigot. I'm sorry, spigot.
The spigot, yes, yes. So are you happy with this? Because
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
okay, good. So we're good then. Okay.
But where is it kept?
Well, there are actually a couple of them in the top drawer of the bookcase in the tool shed. This one I'm showing you is with the new order that I just picked up from
Excellent.
DPW. So there's a couple of them in the top drawer of the bookshelf. And the bookcase that, that's not bookcase, the bureau. It's actually the bureau in the tool shed.
Excellent. So
Okay.
they're there already. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Okay, and we'll promise not to throw them out again.
Yeah.
I thought they all came when you ordered it separate. So that's really good to know. Okay, so much. Number 6. There's been a person that's buried in Seaside Cemetery since 1968. All it is of a lost
Uncle. Lost uncle.
it's a flat plaque sunk below the ground since 1960. What happened?
Sandy,
Now,
could you speak into your phone because I'm missing many of your words.
Yeah. Carol just muted. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect.
Uh-oh. Okay. So in 1968, when Uno Matthew died, he had a nice rose granite stone flush with the the ground. And since 68, it sunk below, surface level, and it grew over, and the family couldn't find the stone. So they reached out to us. First, they reached out to me, they reached out to Carol, then they reached out to Sharon, and all of us kind of got involved in this whole saga. And Sharon, lo and behold, found it buried under the ground. And now the reason why the stone had to be found is that his wife finally died. And Carol can correct me if I'm wrong, but she's over 100 years old. Wow. And she needed to be put next to him. And that's why there was all this scurrying. So when Sharon found the stone with the family, she brought them to it that Sunday that it was really hot. Carol also met us there. We cleaned the stone, so we didn't need the spigot, Chris.
Yeah.
Carol had some D2 left over from one of the trainings, so we were able to clean it. And so now the woman can be married next to, who is married to Uno, can be buried next to him in the cemetery.
Great. That's a great story.
I know. I'm saying it's a saga because it's been going on for, well, at least 1 year that I've been involved in it.
May I mention too that Sharon's interested in writing a few little articles, and she wants to pass them past us so that we are happy with them. But I think that's absolutely wonderful. I don't think she needs to be a member of the committee, which she's not interested in, to do
Yeah.
this. And so she wants to tell this story as well.
Oh,
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell her it's wonderful. It's a wonderful idea.
yes. Okay, there's no other, the popper. And, oh, you know what? I think I have that also, Carol, here.
I hope so.
Okay.
So, and Mike, this is a major question for you. I didn't know about the existence of the pauper. Can you hear me? The
Yes,
pauper
yes.
section in Seaside
Yep.
until Sharon showed me. And oh yeah, go down a little. Yeah, there it is. And it now has 3 stones in it, but there's over 100 people buried there. So I really thought, since we know who they are, we have maps that give their names, that it would be absolutely wonderful to memorialize them with a sign. And I would spend time with Sharon making absolutely sure that we have the names correct and the spellings right, and whoever's in there. My question is, could we get a sign? And I had written a little phrase, here in what looks like an open green space lie the paupers' graves. While the people interned here could not afford headstones, the city kept records of the names and locations of each burial in this field are, and then we could either do a map or even just a simple listing of the names. Is that possible, or is that too complicated, or do we need to get a grant to do a sign like that, or?
Signs aren't difficult to produce. They're just difficult to come to agreement on what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
So if this group wants to assemble something, we can get some proofs made.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can purchase the sign.
And then I got started thinking, and I mentioned this at the last meeting, there are other pauper sections, and there are even 5 slaves buried that I know of. And I think memorializing each of these who have no stones seems like a really worthy thing for us as a city and a cemetery committee to do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep. Anybody else?
No, it's great. And I'm just curious, where are the slaves in Seaside or somewhere else?
I'll make it up because I can't remember. 3 of them are in 3rd parish and 2 of them are in 2nd, or it's reversed.
Yeah, would you send me that documentation when you come?
Yep.
Again?
I'm going to write myself a note, Chris, so I don't forget.
That's great. So you're talking about Bayview then? That's 3rd parish.
Yeah, I don't want my information to be bad, so I'll double check that.
Thank you. Yeah, when you send it along, it'd be great.
Yep. And I believe there's more paupers' graves in other cemeteries. Am I correct?
Oh yes, in Bayview, there's definitely a lot.
So again, something for us to be, it's just a little side project, but it seems like something where they have no stones to mark them, since we've got the information. The other alternative, although Mike seemed to make that sound easy, was to at least have a QR code posted so that people could go to the website and see the names. But you don't think it's that, well, as we go forward, we'll see if it's a big deal.
See how many names you have actually, Carol, too,
I think it's 115 for Seaside.
Yeah.
Well, what if there was a QR code on the sign where we could put additional things as it comes along, because we may discover more things, we may discover African Americans, we might discover other things, and if this QR code, we can bring them to our city site and add things.
I think just putting it there, just sort of in general, gives us all kinds of options, and we can certainly generate a QR code with no problem at all.
That's a great idea, because it gives us that flexibility as we learn more.
All right, so I'll go ahead with Sharon and do up a possible dummy of the possible sign, and then I'll also double check the names.
Carol, could I ask you, where in DPW did you find the listing of the paupers that are buried in Seaside?
Sharon had it. And again, like she's just the friend of the cemetery. She
Do you know where
and it's on this document that Sandy's got that I had emailed everybody. At the bottom, there's a map. There's 2 maps.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I got this. You send it to all of us?
Yep. But that's okay. There's a lot of paper going past here.
Yeah.
I'll resend that too. How's that?
Thank you. Yeah.
Look at what it's called. It's called the City Home Plot. Wow.
Well, what it was is that during a certain period, it was connected to the city home. And so
Yeah.
people that died in the city home were buried there. But it turns out additional people like Eben Devine, who was not in the city home, but was a fisherman who died in the harbor, was also buried there. So it's not exclusively the city home.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow. Yeah. Very good.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'll resend that, Chris.
That'd be great. Thank you.
This is the exciting stuff that we've always wanted to get into. Letting the experts do the repairs and do some of this fun stuff.
Yeah. I
Right.
love it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Carol, where was the city? You may have said, I was thinking about something. The city home was located where?
I should remember. Is it Roger Street, Chris? Sandy, do you remember?
Well, I thought it was down near the Sand and Gravel, not too far from the vet center where we used to meet in person.
Yeah.
I thought it was down in there. I have a map of where it was. It's the workhouse, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the-
and then Hammond set up one for fishermen, which was separate. Maybe that's the one that was on Roger Street.
Yeah, Emerson Ave had one.
Thank you. Yeah, Emerson Ave and then Roger Street, I think both of them.
And that was Hammond. Yes.
It's
John.
referred to by a number of different names. I've heard it called the Poor Farm,
Yep.
or a number of different names over the years.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, I'm excited that we're doing this. I love it. Okay, great.
Okay, good. Great. Okay, and the city council voted to accept the $1,000 donation from Anna Carlson, who,
Can I spell that correctly in the notes here? Is it ANNA and then CARLSON?
yes,
Okay.
Carlson. Yeah. All right. And she is the daughter of Helen Garland, who just passed away.
Yep. And that's for the restoration of the Elizabeth Plumer stone.
Plummer. Yep. Plumer, singular M. And that stone was given to Rob.
Oh, good.
And I told him that honestly, he's got so much to do with what we've already asked him to do. Bayview, I saw him up there like this week in the heat. He's got so much to already do that I just said it's a lower priority. Plus Langsford is right in line too, and Cherry Hill's in there. So I just didn't want him to spend too much time on additional things. Is that okay with the committee?
I agree completely.
Yes.
Yeah. The outdoor work in the grants needs to be done first, I think, don't you?
I do, and I don't know if you'll give an update, I think, on Langsford, but at least with the Elizabeth Plummer stone, if it was too hot out, he would be able to work on it in his inside on his property. So that was one idea.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Chris did that nice temporary loan form. Did Rob sign one for the Plummer stone?
No.
I'll talk about it. Let's add that into new business, and we'll talk about that then.
Yeah. Could you put a note on in the minutes that we need him to sign that form here?
I actually did a blank one. I don't know if Chris had, and I've got it available in Word for us all to look at and accept.
Okay, that's good.
For new business, maybe.
Great. Okay. All right. These are the loan forms that I have so far on our Google Drive. And they all use different kinds of well, these are all storage forms that
Right, it's different.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not those.
No, different. Chris did a different form, and it's to a short-term. Well, so it's a short-term loan form that tells you that the stone has left the cemetery, where it is, and then when it comes back. And Chris, I added at the end that it has to be reviewed by 2 cemetery committee members because that's the way it is in most of the grants. So I did a few really minor changes, and I'll show you that when we get to new business.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds good.
All right, number 9, report on the SHRAP grant. Chris, you're up.
Right. So that's going very well in the sense we have 2 restoration companies. That is Gravesite Restoration, as well as the Fan and Lair, consulting restoration company. And Rob, that is Rob Sarabian of the Gravesite Preservation company, restoration company. He's completed the work at Clark's in Cherry Hill and Bayview.
He's finished the work there, Chris?
Pretty much.
Okay, I just want to get it in the minutes right. So he's finished at Clark,
At Clark's,
Bayview.
at Cherry Hill, and Bayview. Now, in Bayview, there are a few braces that he has for support. He's waiting for it to cure because he had to do some serious restoration work there. So he's done the majority of the work at Bayview, and braces are still present, and he'll take those down once he feels, that the material has cured and it's the right time to remove the braces.
Got it.
The Clark's and Cherry Hill is pretty much done. And then with respect to the Shrab, the Fannons have, of the 8,
Oh, wait a sec. Hold on. I thought we were talking about the SHRAB.
we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're both part of the Shrab.
So,
Yep.
so the Fannons have done 3 stones so far, and of the 8 to 9 stones that need to be done. But of course, the heat has been a setback with respect to work productivity.
Oh God, yeah.
But not with Rob. Rob was working there on Thursday, and they 90 plus, heat index of 102. He worked on it Wednesday, Tuesday. He's been there incredibly long hours, and but he's, that's his work ethic, and that's what he does. So Shrab is coming along fine. And another thing that Sandy had asked about a number of meetings ago, when anyone cleans, if you're going to make any hours for cleaning a stone for Shrab, the in-kind work, and I got back information saying that we don't just have to clean, American Revolutionary War or Civil War. We can clean any veteran stones, and that would be considered part of in-kind work for the Shrab grant.
So, Chris, am I correct that what you would appreciate is if anybody cleans a veteran stone, they report the hours to you, and you'll keep track?
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be great, and that'd be great. And any veteran in any conflict is up for cleaning.
Got it.
So, do you have any questions about Shrab?
Nope.
No.
So, okay, so that's number 9 is done, Sandy.
Great. Number 10, report on the grant progress of New England Biolabs.
Right. So, the Friedman stones have been maturing in their particular encasement, and Rob will eventually get back to them. Holes have to be dug in order to put these mammoth gravestone encasements back into the ground. But so right now, everything is just curing, I would say, and just making sure that everything is set well before any kind of placement or resetting occurs. Mike, if you're still there, by chance? Yeah, I'll have to talk to another time. So that's with respect to New England biolabs. The only other thing that wasn't on the well on the agenda, thinking about the grants, is the CPA grant is almost completed with the completion of Miles Barnes, which is being restored at Rob's workshop at this time.
Chris, do you want to put that in number 12 or do you want to report it here?
Oh, sorry, I didn't even see that. Sorry about that. Okay.
No, it's okay. I just,
No, that's my fault. No, so we're complete, and now we'll go to you, Carol.
I have nothing to report. Rob's working like mad all over the city. I don't think he's gotten to Langsford. So we'll just let that, I'll come back next month.
Sounds good. So actually, number 12 is something different, Carol. It's about how CPA pays for multiple year contracts.
Right, but you could mention whatever else you wanted to about CPA.
Sure. Sandy, are you okay if we bounce to 12 now?
Yeah, I just want to show the latest pictures in the cemetery.
I saw like a shadow.
I couldn't hear you, Sandy.
Okay, I'm just showing you the pictures in the cemetery of the Freeman stones, and this is what they almost look like bodies laying there.
Oh, they're beautiful though.
Yeah, and and one is Rhonda and one is Rhonda and Robert Freeman Senior, and then Junior is that one, and they look outrageously huge and heavy, but this is what they look like now. I know you can't really tell with the, but the stones are embedded inside of the concrete.
Nice.
It's exciting to see.
You see the mic?
Yes.
Mike, I had, by chance, you think, I know how busy you all are, would Rob be able to get any help in digging the holes, for these particular gravestones?
I can, if you can give me a few weeks, once kind of the summer quiets down, I have plenty of opportunity to put someone on this job with you.
That'd be great. That's great. I didn't want to bug you. I sent you that one email. I didn't want to bug you again, knowing with Pole Hill and everything else going on. That'd be great. Let's table it for September, and I'll let Rob know that.
Okay.
I know. One thing. I know Rob will need your help too. DPW's help, as you have always been generous to do in lifting those stones and getting them into place too.
Of course. Well, let's do that.
Yep. Thank you.
And these are the footstones over here for the stones. So there's a footstone there, original footstone there, marble, and then they're going to go in this area right here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we should also note that the mayor and his wife have been very generous, with helping Rob, with providing him with water, electricity, and so they've been very generous and accompanying him on this journey.
And water, and yeah.
And
so we
exactly.
could invite them to when they're commemorating Wellspring. We'll probably have a big event, right, Chris?
Yes, I'm assuming so. When around the 400th, sometime. It hasn't been scheduled yet, but yes, that's the plan at Wellspring.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing more on that, number 11 is Langsford, Carol. Oh,
Nothing.
You already did.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. No set on that. 12, and there's the multi-year restoration.
Yes. So I got message back from Jamie Corliss, and it's a no. It's not a big deal to them about. So I was just asking for how do they handle payments for multi-year contracts, and for CPC, that is the Community Preservation Committee, they just require, regular updates from the grantee. And then when an update is presented to them, then and a payment is requested, then that payment will be made, even on over multi-years. Because cemetery committee is a city department or part, CPC, once money is requested for payment, CPC will pay the vendor directly. Doesn't have to go through us. They will pay the vendor without getting us involved, if it's a grant that we've won ourselves.
So
Now-
obviously, if, for example, the working season is over, and that's the time that you would request payment for that year's work, that's just really straightforward, right?
Right, and we would go by what we had agreed upon is that work prior to payment, we would receive, the before and after file sheets on each of the gravestones, work done, and then two people would review the work done before payment.
Sounds good.
And the one additional thing, which is they also do, is if by chance money has to be procured up front to buy supplies, that can be done. And there's ways of doing that as well. And you just can get payment for supplies prior to work being accomplished.
So it just sounds like they're just a very reasonable, kind of approachable committee that we could make requests to at reasonable times when we need it, right?
Right. I think it was more for us to find, because we had written a document saying, it was a seasonal event. It was done in one season. We never really thought about
Right.
what have we extended periods of time. And I think now we see that it's very easy to manage such a contract of long term.
I'm gonna have to jump pretty soon. Is there anything specific in the last 3 agenda items?
Not from me.
Not for me, no.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, one last thing, because there's a new business. So Mike, I got the grants and donations started with Rose, and Sandy and Carol will follow up on their information to Rose as well. But I am going to, this week, I will start sending pictures for that folder, for that file of work to be done in cemeteries when there is free time, when there's a slow period. You're still comfortable with that idea, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay,
And we're gonna do some additional fall cleanup in all the cemeteries and some additional tree work in all the cemeteries, both historic and active. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that as we get closer to that.
great. That's super. And thank you for everything you do for us on the
And
cemetery.
Yes,
Mike,
Thank
I
you,
just
guys.
wanted to mention I've been in Seaside a lot. Your guys are taking such good care of those poor new trees. What a tough summer they've got to.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, but it's so nice to see that they're taking such good care of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell them we appreciate it.
I certainly will.
Mm.
Well, you guys have a beautiful night. Stay cool, and I'll hope for cooler weather.
Yeah.
Bye, Mike. Thanks for
Bye,
coming.
thank you.
Bye.
bye.
Okay, but we continue.
Yes.
So Carol, on this piece, on the CPA idea that we spoke about, you just want to make a notation that Miles Barnes' gravestone and footstone is being repaired in Rob Sarabian's workshop, Gravesite Preservation Company.
Oh, which
Workshop. Got it.
one?
Miles
What
Barnes. Miles Barnes.
Yep, I know his name because it's amazing the stuff that's stuffed into my head.
Right.
Yeah. Which line item are you talking about?
That's
Well-
still on number 13.
Hold on one sec.
12, maybe 12.
Oh, yeah. Right, 12, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought I was opening up Carol. Just one. Wait a sec. You're talking about 13 right now?
No, Sandy, what it was is that it probably should have been new business. We were on 12 and Carol suggested that I mention about the CPA grant, as after talking about after talking about payment, multiple, year payments. So we slipped that in about the CPA 2021 grant. About, there's only one more gravestone that has to be repaired, and that's Miles Barnes.
Oh, I thought we already knew about that one.
I don't know. I don't know.
What was
It
that,
doesn't hurt
Carol?
to have it in there twice.
Why were you adding it though? Where were you were adding it under,
Well, because we did a report on grant progress, and that's an ongoing grant. The CPA is an ongoing grant. The CPA 2021 is an ongoing grant, like Shrab, like Langsford, like New England Biolabs.
okay, because we don't usually mention individual stones. Is there a reason?
Yes, because that's the CPA grant. That's an update on the CPA grant.
Is it the only stone left in the grant?
Yes, that's the point of it.
Got it,
The
okay.
grant will be finished with this particular stone.
And this is number 12 we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it's about CPA. It's not really written up there, Sandy.
Yeah, no problem. Because you know how I feel about Miles Barnes, one of my favorites.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
we were talking to Rob about that one. Okay, good.
That's part, but that stone is part of the CPA 2021 grant.
Which is listed.
We can't hear you, Sandy.
Wait, Carol, what on the Oh, Carol, I was wondering, can you mute for a minute?
Sandy, I'm having a terrible time understanding you.
I can't hear because you're a fan.
Oh, yes, I can mute myself. You know what? We're almost at the end. I'll go turn off the fan. That has to be a lot better.
Oh, thank you.
How's that?
Yeah, it was just so loud.
Sorry.
That's no problem. Chris,
Yes.
just so I understand how Miles Barnes came up, that is a CPA grant that was for last year that was carried over.
No, right. We're still working on the CPA 2021 grant. Was started in the winter of 2022, and the stones were set in June of 2022, and there was one more stone to repair, and that was Miles Barnes.
I didn't know that was being put on that one. I thought when we were talking to Rob that it was going on, I don't know, something, I don't know. I didn't quite understand. Okay, so that one isn't closed out yet, and CPA won't pay until it's checked off and completed.
Well, no matter, nothing gets paid until the restorer submits all of the forms for the restoration work and the before and after picture, and until at least 2 members of the committee have reviewed all the restored work.
Yeah.
I mean, the money is in our account, so it's not like the money doesn't exist.
Oh, I know. And this is why the CPA multi-year restoration even came up. It was because of that one stone.
No, the reason being is because back when I was applying for that CPA 2022 grant to restore Bayview, that was to be a 3-year grant. And so the question came up as a committee, we didn't really address what do we do when we have a grant that covers more than 1 year.
Oh, no. Okay. So, all right. So
So it is separate. I shouldn't have suggested you wait for number 12, Chris. We should have added just under. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, let's forget it. Let's not,
We'll
talk about
clarify that. Yeah,
not at all. Okay, we'll put that into new business then. Okay.
yeah, I'll
I
move it
gotcha.
down.
And do you have, I know it's related, Carol, now that I end, okay. Number 13, forms for short-term removal of stones.
We still have language clarity?
No, she's on 13, Sandy. Carol, she's on 13.
Well, she jumped though.
Oh,
Oh, you're
So-
still on 12. Okay, sorry, 12.
Language clarity.
Oh, okay, number 12, progress report.
No,
CP,
the next
all
one.
right,
the next one is, I think yeah, we're on 13 now, right?
Language clarity, yeah.
That's 14, hun.
14's new business on my copy. It doesn't matter so long as we cover it. I don't care.
You see it's in front of you. Maybe you have an old copy.
Oh, I see. No, Sandy, I see it now on your screen. I'm looking at my screen. I've got 2 copies. Never mind. Can we just do the language clarity before we do new business? Or no, 40 for short-term loan. I've got it right here. I just emailed it to you all. Chris?
wait a minute. We
Go ahead.
haven't finished 13 yet.
Right, we're gonna do it now, Sandy. Carol knows we're gonna do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just emailed all of you a copy of the Word document that I derived from Chris's PDF that she sent us. And I changed a very few little things, but at the same time, I'd love you to review it, Chris.
Sure. Right now?
As we're looking at it, if you want to, sure. But it's in your email, and and Sandy's just pulled it up.
Yeah, I'm on John's computer though. See,
all right, then just look at it on Sandy's.
So, okay.
And we can go back and change things. I mean, that's not a big deal. But I added, some of the things I changed were like at the end, it mentions that we need 2 signatures for the committee members.
Sure.
So little tiny things like that. The language that you had at the beginning, I didn't touch that. The order of the things, for example, because you had sent me a copy of one that was all filled in, I did instead, if you go down a little further, Sandy, it was filled in with like Clark Cemetery and the name of a stone. Well, I took that out and I just made it a blank, so it's ready to go for anybody else. And so then this form would be, if we like it, is there a spelling error or something?
That's how it is on the section 73.
Okay, we won't worry about it then.
No, exactly. You know me, I would have changed it if it was wrong.
So Sandy, can you scroll down a tiny bit?
I'm just wondering, is this something that we're supposed to put on here? What was this about here?
Well, we had that in the other loan storage form, if I'm right, Chris, am I right?
Right, you're right.
And it was about what the law requires of people when they're dealing with our stones, how they're not allowed to do this and they're not allowed to do that, and there's all these state regulations. So I think we just thought it made sense to put it in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, like keeping people, and then the really important part is what follows next.
So I did, instead of the actual cemetery, because some of the short-term loan stones might have been at DPW or might have been somewhere else. So I just did cemetery other. Okay, so I changed that just a tiny bit. And then I made it contact per city or committee or city contact person, because, we're not always going to be here. And I think that's about the only things I changed. But as I said, Chris, I'd be glad to have you look it over and see if anything bothers you.
Sure.
And then, as I say, down at the bottom here, it says, the 2 names instead of just 1. So could we consider it to be looked over and then perhaps accepted at the next meeting?
Right, because Sandy, I sent it to you too. You saw, to all of you, you saw the one for Benjamin Corning that I sent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is the blank that goes with that form.
Yeah. So with Carol was great. She just set up as a blank, and so that's like you'll pop your plumber stone right into this.
Identification and inscription, like down in here, conditions here.
Those are the pictures. The lower, the 2 lower brackets were pictures.
It says to add photos. Yeah.
Okay, now what happens with this form once it's filled out?
then again, you know, whether it's you, Sandy, that puts it on the Google Drive or whoever the contact person is, like if Chris is doing it with Rob, it would make sense to me that she would hold on to it, you know, because she's the one that's going to go and certify that it got finished and call somebody else up to go out, you know, because that would just be a simple thing. Or
Good.
put them on the
Because I was-
Google Drive.
Yeah,
I think the Google Drive is nice just for historical pieces, so they can,
Yep.
you have a listing of, you have a real, of what things that were repaired. And then, and yes, and whoever's managing that particular situation, they're responsible for following up and making sure the stone gets back to the cemetery or back to DPW.
so I would put like here, stone returned.
I think we had a name for it. It was
Temporary loan, maybe.
yeah, temporary loan form.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
these have all been, okay, you see what these are all the ones that were in the DPW.
Mhm.
So these have all been returned, is that right? To the cemetery?
Well, no, not all of them, because it's only, Clark Cotton wasn't worked on and John Smith wasn't worked on. So just York and Charles and Davis and then Robinson
Okay.
and Allen. But they're,
Well,
yeah.
I'll move the ones that have been returned and the ones that are still on loan then, unless you want to just tell me right now, is this one returned?
That's in the, that's in First Parish, yes. And then Captain Allen, that's an error, so you want to change that. It's Captain Charles, but we don't know, it can't be Captain Allen, Charles, or Charles Allen.
Okay, so the form inside there, all the stuff in there has to change.
Yes, but
Okay.
you can put him in, actually, he's sitting in my screen porch.
Okay, we'll leave him still out because he's not. Okay.
James Davis is returned. Dorothy Robinson is returned. Mary Allen is returned. Why did we have two? There weren't two Mary Allens, correct?
I don't know. There were two forms, but they would have to be.
Mhm.
May I stop us a second?
Mhm.
We've ignored the paper trail, and that's fine because this is good work that's gotten done. But what should have probably happened is before they left the DPW, the temporary loan form should have been filled in.
They were.
Oh, okay.
They were. I have them all.
And then I would say that they would be attached and there'd be a single file for that person. So it's not like you'd have separate, 3 pages here and 3 pages there. You'd have a single file that would contain the original storage form, the temporary loan form, and then the sign off.
Right. I have that, and I can send that to Sandy to put on the Google Drive with respect to, I think you and Sandy maybe did made the loan forms, but then I did the and then when Rob took them from DPW, I set up temporary loan forms because actually this is how it went. You and Sandy did something to store them at DPW.
Right, that's what these forms were.
Yes, yeah, and then I set up temporary loan forms for him to take them home and do them in the workshop for the winter. So and now most of them, except for Barnes, they're back in the earth.
So what I'm saying is, Sandy, as you're looking at these files, we should get the file from Chris and attach it to the file. So it's not separate file, but it's one file that traces the history of the stone. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want it individually or do you want it as a group? Because this was really as a group.
I would say individually because then we can look them up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's just a tidying thing. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are maybe we should have maybe put maybe there could have been something a little bit better because they'll be set. But I just wanted to get them out of here. Okay, so Charles Bales.
No, no work on him. So he's still in DPW, and Smith is still, Wright is still in DPW, and Roland Cotton is still in DPW.
All right.
Charles Allen he let him stay there. He's in my house.
Okay. And did you want to vote on this form at all, or do you want to wait till next week? Because
I thought at least give Chris a chance to look at it, you a chance to look at it, because I just did it this afternoon. That's why I wasn't out sooner.
Okay, then I'll wait on having Rob. Does Rob sign it, or do I do it?
Well, the way I did it was he signs it, and I sent him a self-addressed envelope, and then he sent it back to me. So
I took that out of the form, Chris, because
Sure.
you might not do it all the time.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, so I did read that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would, if you're not going to see him, Sandy, I would just use this. I mean, we'll vote on it next time, but I certainly would set, if you want, just put this to, use this and send it off to him, and then he sends it back to you, and you have a signed copy from him. It's just saying that he knows that he has a loan, and that it's, that he's working on it. It's a temporary loan. So it just covers you and the stone.
I think of famous stories about people who have taken things to be cleaned or whatever, and the person dies. Not that Rob's going to die, although in this heat he might.
Yeah.
And then you've got his workshop, and we have no records that he has our stones. And
Exactly.
so that's what this is supposed to really take care of.
Exactly.
So
And-
so I can email this to him and have him digitally sign it and have
But
him
I think
email it.
Chris has already taken care of that.
No, she's talking about the plumber stone, Carol.
Any new ones?
He has my plumber stone now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then in this case, it'd be you would be the contact person as opposed to
Yes.
Chris.
No,
So-
yes, exactly. And if he needs to take anything home from Langford, then you, Carol, would be the contact person.
Absolutely. I don't think he's going to have to. I think he's going to be able to do it all right there.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I'm clear on this email mailing. I mean, it sounds like you wanted a signature sent to his house and then sent back. Is
No,
that what-
no, Sandy, that's what I did, because when I sent it to him it was back in June, and he was working somewhere else at that time. So
Yeah.
so I sent him. So as you said, you can do this electronically, send it to him, then he signs it, and then he sends it back to you, and then you have a copy of it.
Yeah, maybe I'll just have send it to him as an attachment, all filled out, and he can say
yep,
this is correct.
that makes sense.
That's-
But
And
I
I-
don't know if you want to wait till Chris has had a chance to.
Yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
fine. I mean, I think she can run with it now. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
yeah, you could run with it now, and then you're covered with plumber, Sandy.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. That makes sense. And then you know what? We'll tidy up the paperwork at a future date.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's great, Carol. Thanks for doing the template.
Yeah. And I can save it as a PDF, but for now in Word, it's much more workable. It's
Right,
easier.
because there's a couple of periods there.
Yeah.
We just take out a couple, so it's great. It's great.
I think I should wait for a vote, so I'm just going to wait. It's only,
It's not going to make any difference.
it's not okay. I feel funny sending out a form that we haven't voted on, though.
I agree with you, sort of.
Well, I mean, it's fun. I mean, we have a little bit of cleaning up to do with a couple of grammatical stuff there, but I'm willing to vote on now because it's very direct. It covers all the information we need, unless you want to review it yourself, Sandy. Since I wrote it, I know what it says. Carol, it was great to put it so that it's now a template that anybody can use. So, but would you like some time to read?
This is what I would do then. What I would say then is have a revision number on the document.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So just add version 1. Is that what you mean, or something like that, or a date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just add that, and we'll vote next month.
Okay.
But you can certainly use it. I mean,
Yeah.
we know Rob's not running off to Vegas selling our stones.
And just add in like page number. Basic this. Okay, good. I'll do a page number. Okay, great. All right, all right. That's all. And if Chris finds anything different, it just becomes a new date on it.
Oh,
Yep.
sure. Yeah, there's just some typos and then we're fine.
Okay, so I propose that we adopt this revision
I
one.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Right. All right, you can get that vote in there, and I'm so thrilled about that. Thank you. Wow, tons of stuff. Okay. Great. Like clarity. Okay, number 14.
Mhm.
Language.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say is I really was grateful for Augie having been here last time to come up with all of this stuff. I don't think the language matters when we're talking, because we'll clarify as we go. But when we have all these forms that use these different terms, it probably makes sense for us to just have a set of definitions, doesn't it? That we use
Yeah.
consistently.
Some consistency, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if we use the term headstone or footstone, that implies we know, and we don't always know, is it easier to just use the term gravestone unless we know for sure it's just a little footstone?
I like the slash footstone, those two choices, because you know on all those aren't all of those inventory and condition reports, don't they all say headstone?
I think a lot of them do, yes.
Yeah.
And then Augie said the flat things like Uno Matthew are called grave
Yeah.
markers, right?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, they're called grave markers.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and the tombstone, the original tombstone, the term tombstone was used back in 1560 in England, and it was really meant the stone that was put on top of the coffin. It was actually a stone. So, you know, from the
Keep
west.
them from rising.
So you know what? Yeah, the tombstone probably shouldn't be in our vernacular.
All right, so I put down that that's not going to be used.
Yeah.
And that we'll call them headstones or gravestones. Do you want to be specific and use one term or the other?
Yeah. I'm just looking to see, because we had, these were the terms that we used to have. Let me just see if it says.
Sure.
These are all the terms. When we would do we used to do these inventory pages. Let's see.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
alphabetical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So the gravestone would also cover.
Gravestone was supposed to also mean headstone.
Right, but I'm thinking of some of the things that are of totally different shape than a headstone, you know, like the whole family ones that are big and, you know, have spires on them and names on four sides and stuff. What do we call those?
Gravestone.
Monument.
Oh, you call it
Okay,
monument.
so let's add that to the list.
Mhm. Well, then you also have, if you're going to, especially in the historical piece areas, according to, you know, I looked up our friend here, Carol, I don't know if you've seen his work.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you know, he said that the Puritans only used tombs and gravestones, and they never combined the tombs. So it was either a tomb or it was a gravestone. And then he said, as you go forward, when you go forward, he said that the tomb was, you know, large brick, the tomb was a large brick, or the footstone at the other, I'm sorry, it was a large brick, and or cut stone, and usually there was a large flat carved slab was put in place. When he talked about the headstone, he said the headstone was an upright slab of stone over the grave, completed by a smaller upright slab for the footstone. So no one ever really uses the word gravestones, but but people say gravestone and headstone are the same.
Okay,
Good.
but all right.
Are we good?
And what do we call what are we calling the ones where it's like, oh, it's like the Freedmans. where it's like a square flat table.
That's a headstone and a footstone. So it's just.
Okay, not the Friedmans then. They're like the ones in the cemetery that are laid flat, that are just.
Those are according to Ludwig. The slab stone was a large flat stone carved on the top and placed flush against the earth. They called it a slab stone.
Yeah, but these are raised, most of them, aren't they?
And those were called table stones. The raised.
All right.
So you had your table stones, and then you have your slab stones. Slabs were in the earth, and the table stones were raised, like the ones on the bricks.
Yeah, that's what I'm adding. I've got a note next to tombstone that we're not using it.
Mhm.
I've got a headstone definition, an upright slab of stone. Gravestone, are we using it or aren't we using it?
Well, it's just that it's synonymous with headstone. I'd like to use it because but I mean, as a synonym for headstone.
Got it?
But wait a minute, we're talking about just, we're talking about inside of grants and documents, right?
Right,
Right.
and we're looking for some consistency, so
Yeah.
using two different words might not be the best idea.
Yeah, so like we can, and when we're speaking, we can,
Right.
but do you want to be able to use gravestone and headstone, Chris, when you're writing grants?
Well, like all the things we always wrote restoration of gravestones in First Parish. I mean, that's how we always wrote, all of us. I'm not saying that, but because
But that's not written in stone.
no, exactly. But we can make a decision, say restoration of headstones and or footstones too, because gravestone doesn't mean footstone; it just means the headstone.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I thought, I know that we use everything except for tombstone,
Right.
but
We can-
monument
yeah.
and all that. But
All right,
but I
you
meant,
know what? Why don't I take this and type it up in a nice alphabetical list with a little definition next to each, and we can consider it next month? Does that make sense, or?
Okay. So do you want the terms used to describe cemetery and grave markers? Do you want this?
That's good to have.
Okay.
But
And then when we're writing grants and something, we'll use consistent language.
Right. And I think what Sandy's getting at is that, it's headstone and footstones versus gravestones. And I agree. We probably should be more specific, more accurate, and just say when we're doing restorations of headstones and restorations of footstones.
Yep.
I think Sandy, your point is well made.
Okay, and monuments, and but I think Carol has and what was the other thing? Plaque?
Table stones.
Table stones. And
then from Augie, grave marker for those that are flush with the earth.
Oh, grave marker, that's what I was
and also slab stones, Carol, if they are.
Sure, I can put it in there.
Yeah, large flat stones with carvings on them.
Those are the ones that are like, do we have any really? First Parish has a couple, even though they're all broken apart.
Yeah, I thought they were all raised though.
What's a tap? What's a tap?
A slab. It's a slab. So I'm gonna just read you his definition. The slab stone was a large flat stone carved on the top and placed flush against the earth on a bed of pebbles. The other one that Carol's speaking about is called the table stone.
It almost looks like you could picnic on it.
One that has the heart-shaped one that
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are table stones.
Yeah.
Table
Okay.
stones, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'll type these up with definitions and we'll have them ready for next month. How's that sound?
Great.
So should be here for that vote. Okay, good, wonderful. All right. Very good. Wow. Not bad for timing, you guys. So sorry about my headset.
And it's too damn hot anyway. Oh,
I'm trying to stay downstairs where there's a breeze. And it was.
You know what? Right now there's a cool breeze coming. Right. Oh my God! It just started.
Wow.
This second, it's beautiful.
Okay, good.
All right.
New business. I think that, okay, you can talk about the Miles Barn. stone there.
Okay, I'll make myself a note, put Miles Barnes in here.
I'll also put the notes on Sharon, wanting, as a contributor, wanting to, just stories in general. Was that something else that was also brought up earlier?
Well, I mentioned it when I was talking about Sharon in general and about Uno Matthew, because she wanted to write that up.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't have a category, but I'd love us to have a Friends of the Cemetery committee, because
Oh, yes.
I think she would fit right in there. She doesn't want to be on the committee, but she loves
Kathy
this.
Clark,
Kathy
Lois
Clark.
Clark. Yeah. Yep.
So
We have friends.
maybe we should start a club.
Yeah.
I mean,
was-
I mean
sorry.
online, like an online club.
No, I'm just thinking of something informal that, because they're people that are so obviously care about the cemeteries and are willing to.
Well, what I would do, right, is, if we can talk about it when we have Augie, but I could make a category here, Friends of the Cemeteries or Burial Grounds, and we could have them submit stories for review by the committee, and we
Yeah.
can post.
That's a great
Sharon's-
idea.
Yeah, Sharon's really cute. She says, I won't ask you for suggestions because I don't write things for other people to change them. I said, no problem.
No,
Go
I'm
for
sure,
it.
I'm sure she writes very well.
She writes well and she checks it. I said to her, oh my God, you got the title of this committee correct. She said, I do my homework.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else for tonight?
I did, but I'm too hot.
Well, I do.
Okay.
So I
Correct.
just want to make sure I didn't get a response from either one of you. You all got that email from me on the cemetery donation and grants. I started that finally, and I asked both of you if you would also submit your contribution, on the cemetery donations and grants, to Rose. Remember, she's keeping a file on all of everything that's going on with respect to donations and grants. That
Now,
you
in,
got.
ter-
Go
in,
ahead.
ter- in terms of Anna Carlson's donation, I wrote that up in memo form and sent it over to Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
that
think
does.
that's good enough?
Well, it actually should go to Rose, as long as because Rose is keeping the directory on all of this.
I'm sure Mike would pass it on to Rose.
Well, I know, but you wanna, whatever I would send it. Mike gets pretty busy, so please, you can always CC Mike on it, but I would probably go direct to Rose.
Okay. Okay,
And so-
direct to Rose. Right, yep.
And so that email, if you missed it, was written to y'all on 7/20.
Okay, I am going to look for it and mark it.
And
Got
Carol, and then Carol, you got yours on Langsford. That's a great one too for you to add, to Rose's directory.
Right, and that's annual, so.
Yeah, that's great. So every
And
year,
are we keeping track for the committee anywhere so we know?
well, I copied you all on, so I just hope you would copy me on it if you whatever you send into Rose.
No, I mean like, for example, yes, of course. But for example, I said, on like July, I guess it was July. Oh, a donation was made by Anna Carlson, for example. Oh, City Council accepted it and it went into the general fund.
See, these are all in our minutes. They're all there.
Yeah. Yes.
So we don't have to worry about it. The only thing is, and Chris, you've been doing all the ordering and stuff. Do we get a written update or something about the budget from Mike from you?
No, not from Mike. Again.
No, the budget from DPW. You're
Yeah.
the one that's been doing the purchase orders, right?
Exactly, yes, but it's always I always work with Rose.
No, I'm asking if we can get an update.
Oh, sure. I can see how much money, I can see how much money we have left.
Yeah, because like even just the silly thing like the spigots, I mean, whether there's money for them or whatever. Yeah.
Well, this I always order when I make the order. This is $2.65. Maybe it's $3. So
Yeah, I understand.
I always order it. So when
Right, but I'm just curious. Like we're almost at the end of the summer season, and I'm wondering what kind of shape we're in. So I guess I'm wondering if you're doing all of that, should we have a mechanism to have, I'm not talking about a giant accounting here, you understand? I'm just talking about, how much is left.
Of course, of course. I always check with Rose because I need to know how much we have to, how much we need to spend before May of next year. Otherwise,
Right,
we lose the money.
yeah.
And I think what Carol's asking, and I agree, is like, it would be great to know, well, where are we at with all of that? Like, the spigot, did that fall into, obviously, probably this year?
I mean, we know that Mike and the DPW give us lots of things and sand and whatever, and I guess I just don't feel like I have any handle on how much has been spent, if it's been spent, where it's gone, what it's been used for.
Well, why don't we do this? Because I keep a copy of all of our invoices. So why don't we do this? Why doesn't Sandy set up a folder? And so, and I can just keep adding as when we have a purchase order complete, just put it in there and then you all can see it.
Okay. All right, let me see if I have a folder already. Look we have a spreadsheet.
There you go. I was going to suggest Excel.
We have like all these budget things. And
why don't we just call it, because it's what we're focused on is the $2,000, our $2,000 we're given every year.
So this is 2022, the $2,000. That's what we're talking about.
okay, by the way, I didn't know it was approved, so that's good to know too, because they've been slashing budgets, because of the state of things.
Well, and it's the same as school budgets over the years. If you didn't spend your money and, the winter was really cold and they needed the money for the oil, you know what? It was gone.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put in another folder inside of here, year.
Yep.
Fiscal year, actually, the FY.
Yep, it's July 1st.
2022.
And it's DPW.
Wait a minute. Do you guys do it like business and it's FY 23? Do you know?
Oh, just make it 20. Don't make it complicated. I mean, it's going into 23 if you want to put dash hyphen 23.
No, Chris, how they do the fiscal year. I think they do 2023. Is it?
It doesn't matter. Do anything you like.
What I do know is that the fiscal year ends purchasing can't be done by mid-May, or let's say by this third week in May, and the money doesn't come, and new money doesn't come until July 1st.
Actually, that's just, they're just managing things. It is July 1st is the legal deadline for spending, but most school districts and public utilities and all that, the products have to be in hand by the end of the fiscal year. They can't be out there. So that's why they stop it in May.
They won't even put in the purchase orders if they have it later than May 20th.
Okay, well, what I did was I made a folder budgets, and I just put a folder called July 1st, 2022 begin.
You want to send me that link and I'll put the link in the minutes?
Well, how about this? Isn't this going to be the folder? It's a budget, but it's how about it's the July 1st, 2022 invoice, and not invoices, but purchases, right?
Well, and you can pile anything you want in here. How about that?
Sounds good.
Because we know we have $2,000. That's what I mean. Nothing's changed on that. So what we're trying to do is so that everybody sees what the money is being spent on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it would be nice for us to know also, since we're talking about budget, what one of you to ask and find out what is the monies in each of our accounts. Like the general fund, how much money do we have in that general fund?
That one. Okay. Here, we have everybody now.
Good.
Okay, you're gonna send me that link and then I'll put it in the minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. All right.
Okay, and that doesn't include, that doesn't include, the $1,000 or the balance that's already still in there, right?
Yeah, maybe you could say beginning new DPW budget, because I always refer to it as the DPW budget, for the cemetery.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so all the other monies is things either by donation or grants.
Okay, and then here's the link. And you should have got it, Carol.
All right, I'll throw it in the minutes and then it'll be there forever.
And so then I can just I can just put the invoice, I can put the purchase order invoice in there, right?
Yeah, and it'll be constantly updated, whatever you put in.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah. And let's make sure you can't open the link. I'm just gonna.
Well, it hasn't arrived, don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right,
Good.
Yeah.
So let's, September, let's try to find a date in September and just really get together and do that. That'd be super after, when we're, with the subcommittee.
I think that makes I always call it a work group and then nobody can say we should be a public meeting, right?
Sure, work group. That'd be great.
Okay, wow, that's great.
Yeah, when it's cooler.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Oh, I can't tell you the breeze, you two aren't outdoors, I'm telling you, it's over. The heat wave's over.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and in keeping with, I would like to propose that we close a very productive meeting.
I'm
Would
sorry,
somebody-
what?
Like the second, closing a very productive meeting tonight. I'd
Yeah,
like the proposal.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
second, vote
Okay.
for.
Tthank you. All in
Okay.
favor? Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye. Great job. Bye-bye.
Bye.